Welcome to Chaotic Harmony. My name is John.
This is Crystal. We talk about the joys and the challenges of teaching music in the elementary school classroom.
We share struggles, we brainstorm solutions.
And we would love to have you join us.
Welcome to another episode of Chaotic Harmony, episode 111, Make a Wish. I am one of your hosts today, Jonathan Seligman. I am not alone. Today, I am joined by a ghost from the past, Marc Keehmer. Marc, how you doing, man?
Hi, John. Hi, Chaotic Harmony. I'm great. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me on, man. I've missed you, and it's nice to be here.
I missed you too. Before we hit record, we were chatting about when's the last time I've seen you. We've had phone calls every now and then, because you were, formerly our boss. I know you say we weren't our boss, but like you being the VAPA coordinator of our district, it always throws off the younger teachers, like Jasandra, when you I pick up the phone and we're just chatting. I was like, how often do you guys talk? It's like, we talk actually pretty frequently, but we don't have this, visual element. So it's nice that we have this podcast where we can just, hey, yo, what's up? It's been a hot second.
Yeah, it has. Last time, gosh, we found it. I just lost it. Was Nashville? Yeah,
Nashville, yes.
When you got your award for being a great teacher.
Dude, I appreciate you. I was a hot mess, especially right before I went downstairs. Like, oh my gosh.
I was so honored that you asked, man, and it was so fun to get to drive down and celebrate you and just watch other people celebrate the incredible work that you do, because you do so much incredible work. So it's nice, man.
I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I mean, we do this more often, and thankfully we will be doing this more often. We'll be announcing next week what Chaotic Harmony is going to look like, but thankfully I'm glad that we're doing more of this Zoom stuff so we can just have you in, man. I don't remember the last time you were on Chaotic Harmony, other than, of course, the last week or last recording session when we asked people for the spring break. Do you remember when the last time you recorded?
I think it was in person. So, I mean, I've been gone a year, and so I think it was probably right before I left.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been a hot second. Well, actually, so let's catch you before we get into the meat of things. So you mentioned you were heading over to Butler University. And so what do you do? Remind us. What do you do? Just twiddling your thumbs, right? Looking at the twiddling thumbs.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a white wall behind me. I just stare at it all day. No, my title is, I am the Assistant Director of Camps and Community Programs. And so we are a department within a larger division. And within our department, we have several different things that we oversee and we run, including the Butler Community Art School. And so, summer camps are a big thing of what we do, especially during the summer. And so we are getting ready and preparing for those. We are doing roughly 40 some odd camps this summer in about 7 or 8 weeks. Everything ranging from a half day guitar camp all the way to a month-long pre-professional ballet intensive and everything in between. And so it's exciting, it's cool, it's a lot of work, and the really fun thing is I get to work with some really incredible people, and so I'm really fortunate to have my coworkers, and I get to work with teaching artists and a whole mix where we have some teaching artists who are freshmen in college and some who are working professionals. And it's a chance to really get to work in a space where we are still having an impact on people, but it is just in a little different avenue than a traditional public school classroom.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you went from being, let's go backwards. You're right now in Butler University working in the private sector as an administrator. Then you were a VAPA coordinator for an entire public school district. And before that you were a music teacher, and then before that you were just some weirdo in a point
at Starbucks.
Starbucks. Yeah, that's just true.
Right.
What was sorry, finish with
I will say one of the things that I do love about my job now is I do have the flexibility to teach. And so I have some students taking private lessons on various instruments. And then we just wrapped up last week what we're calling our Strings Project, which is a program designed for homeschool and hybrid students, to where they can come in and participate in an ensemble. So we had orchestral strings, and then I got to teach guitar. So I had three guitar students. It was our first time ever doing it. We're launching it again in the fall, and I'm so excited. But getting to teach them every week, and then we have a partnership with our VA, and so we have our VA Modern Band,
Hmm.
and so it's men and women who and their family veterans and their families who get to come in with any and all skill level on any instrument, and so getting to work with them. And so we had our performance today, and they played through some tunes and did such a great job. And it is my role now, and I think the thing that I missed so much from being in my previous role was that teaching aspect, but now I
Okay.
get to do it. And so again, though, I think there's a little bit of that kind of like it's more teaching artist stuff now. That's what I kind of started my career with was after Starbucks, it was teaching artists. So I
Right.
was
Yeah.
I was in Chula Vista teaching with the youth symphony, and then
Is
that got me to
is that how Lauren found you?
yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Hmm. Yeah.
By the way,
So
Lauren
that's
Shelton, episode 0, watch that. But if you're curious, if you're a new listener, but
yeah.
what's something, or just two things. First off, I've heard you and Crystal both say ensemble. And for the life of me, my entire life, I've always had the stress on the second syllable, ensemble. Like, I'm
Mm.
curious, is that like a regional thing? I don't know. Is this a Tehachapi thing?
It
I mean,
could be.
I don't know. Well, clearly Crystal picked it up. So I don't know if Crystal lived in Tehachapi. She lived all over the
Uh,
country. So who knows? But
yeah.
ensemble,
Uh,
listeners, let me know.
uh,
I'm curious. Am I crazy? Like, it's very possible I am.
ensemble. Ensemble.
Ensemble.
I
I don't know.
don't know.
And secondly, what's something you miss about being in the classroom? I know you're saying you're teaching now, but it is different
Yeah.
than, being in the classroom or being in a general at a music class. Like, what is something you do
Hmm.
miss?
I do miss all of the silly antics that you get to do in a general music classroom, and just being able to be so much sillier because like in a private lesson you can still do some of the things, especially that we learned during ORF, but it's super scaled back and it's really hard if the student's not into it. And so I had a student, and he was 5, and I tried to bring in some of those elements, and he just was not having it, And
Uh,
so, there's not that peer pressure of other kids having fun and doing the
mhm,
thing.
mhm.
So I do miss that aspect of it, definitely. And yeah.
What happens when someone like, yeah, because you're right. That classroom element definitely has ability to have an energy to influence kids that usually wouldn't come out of their shell. What's it like when you try to pull it out and like they're like, no, what does it look like? I'm curious.
It is over planning and going to something else.
Okay,
And
fair
so
enough. Mm.
yeah, with this student, I started bringing in lots of books because there was a disinterest in the instrument that we were learning, and I talked with the family kind of throughout the process and just kept them updated. And it was one of those things where the family wanted them to experience music, and so we did, and I introduced books, and so the favorite book was Horton Hears a Who, and so we'd read through the book and then connect it back to our instrument and kind of play along and all this stuff. Are they going to be the next virtuoso on their instrument next year? Probably
Yes,
not.
they will
Well,
be.
well, thank you. But it was definitely that chance for them to experience music and
Cool.
have something to do. So it is a lot of quick thinking, a lot of pivoting, and then also it's really that opportunity to practice meeting the student where they are and the child where
Mm,
they are, because we talk about that all the time. And when we're in a public setting with a classroom, there's only so much that you can do to really do that because you have 30 kids, 33
mm.
kids who
Not in Chula
are all
Vista.
in different.
You better not be in Chula Vista 33.
Not in Chula Vista. No, 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 of course. 32. And so, you
Yeah,
can do that to a degree, and also you could still have those kids who just aren't able to craft how you're teaching to best serve them in that
sure.
moment
Yeah.
because the whole, in this way is really that opportunity for that one-on-one instruction.
I think it'd be good for us to chaotic harmony to have an open table conversation with like two like not private school well, I mean private school would be helpful as well, but like your setting as like a one-on-one kind of situation. And like we were talking before we hit record just about it's it's a brave new world or something. I don't know. It's different right now post COVID, but that's another topic for another time. Anywho, yeah, it's good to see you, man. But
Good
we're
to
gonna
see you
see
too.
you more because this is Chaotic Harmony, the podcast where we talk about the joys, the struggles, and all things adjacent to being an elementary music teacher. So a bit of housekeeping to all y'all listeners. We're back from a 1 month hiatus, which, considering the past 2 seasons, it's pretty good. So if you want to hear what our chaotic, harmonious crew was planning to do to keep our inner peace and our joy over break, listen to the last episode. And next week, we are finally doing it. Crystal and I are going to be reflecting over the past 6 years of chaotic harmony, celebrating our 100th episode on a non-100th episode. So in our chaotic harmony fashion. So that'll be next week. Pinky promise. It's on the calendar. It's on the calendar. So you won't
If
want to
I
miss
don't get that episode next week, I'm going to be furious. I'm just saying.
that. You can email us at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com if you are in spite because of that. The recording actually on Saturday. So if you still want to sneak in a little message to us, you're welcome to email us at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com. That might be read, might not be read on that episode. So heads up. With that, we're going to switch chairs,
Yeah.
metaphorically, because we want to talk a little bit about something that would be weird for me to interview myself about. So, Marc, you'll take the host of this chair. We're going to be talking about the VAPA Festival. So, Marc, go for it.
John,
Hello.
you have done an incredible thing in Chula Vista over the past, what, 9 years, 8 years? And that is this idea of bringing
8.
community together, 8 years. Um, this idea of bringing the community together to have a performance and a celebration of what is being done across the district. And the thing that I love so much about what the culture is in Chula Vista and that you are, in my opinion, at the center of is this idea of collaboration over competition. And I think that this idea that we can have multiple groups performing in similar avenues and celebrate everyone where they are. And I think that that's a really special thing.
Thank you.
And so you spearhead the VAPA Festival for better or worse sometimes for your own sanity. But I think, that goes back into you being recognized in Nashville with, how much passion you have because you do have lots of passion. So for any listener who might not necessarily have listened to the entire catalog of Chaotic Harmony, your quick 15 to 30-second elevator pitch of what is the VAPA Festival.
uh, Timer on now. So VAPA Festival, first off, thank you for your kind words. Used to be called the Collaborative Concert. We've talked about it on I feel like every single season of Chaotic Harmony, but it is as you mentioned earlier, it is a way for schools to come share the same stage instead of us competing for who is the best group. We try to collaborate and we try to showcase the beauty and the joy of the arts. And over the years, it's just expanded more and more into where it's no longer about a music concert, but it's become a VAPA festival. It's become a place where visual art can share the same stage, dance, musical theater, digital media. Did I say visual art? Visual art as well. Music. All of the VAPA disciplines in our district has the opportunity to perform on the same stage, and so. Um, it's changed how many groups we've had, but there's a pre-recorded session, so we could see a vertical slice, if I may, of our the classroom. And kids are interviewed about what they like, what they're doing about art and such, and then also the students' performance stage. And so it's really evolved into a really cool thing that I'm glad that you say that I'm the one running it. This year, I kind of was, kind of wasn't, which was pretty awesome. Um, and it's evolved into a really beautiful thing where it's become just a place where people can just listen and hang and enjoy each other's art, essentially. That was more than 30 seconds. I do
It sure
apologize.
was. It sure was. So we're gonna have to go and post and really just kind of pare that down.
Oh, so
We'll
you're editing
speed
this
up your
episode?
voice.
Okay.
Absolutely not. No, you don't want that. It'll just be me talking the entire time.
Awesome.
Thank you. And then if there's a listener, John, who doesn't know what VAPA is,
Ooh,
what
good
is
point.
VAPA?
VAPA is visual and performing arts. So I know that every single city district has a different way of saying it. Do you know what's it called over in Indiana?
I've seen it both as fine arts, and then I also have seen VPA for visual, but they just don't have the and performing
Mm.
arts. So VPA, visual performing arts. That's what
VPA
I've
makes more
seen out here.
sense, but then I think about
It,
VPNs, and then,
ooh,
but
we are
like,
currently sponsored by NordVPN.
no, we're
No,
not.
no,
But if you want to
no.
sponsor us, hit us up.
Yeah.
Um,
So
Fine arts is always a weird one. I find that like that it's almost a class element then. Like what's a non-fine art? Like what differentiate what's a so it's something outside of the fine arts.
yeah, I don't know.
That's a
That's why we
weird
don't
one.
use. That's why we don't use fine
Okay.
arts.
Yeah.
So you were talking about this year. You were not necessarily running it. You kind of were, but kind of weren't. So even quicker, we'll say 5 second elevator pitch because we all
Uh-oh.
know,
No.
um, history of the VAPA Festival, where it started, how it grew, and then how is this year different to anything you have done before?
There we go. Is that five?
Perfect. Yeah,
Perfect. Awesome.
absolutely.
There's no way I could do that in 5 seconds. So
No.
it's this started 8 years ago, as you mentioned. We what started this was we did our level one. We did Orff level one together, and I still remember we were at Miguel's in East Lake, and again, you already know it's already past 5 seconds. But we were sitting down, we were just chatting. We just were enthralled about uh, us just celebrating each other. We had us. I can't. There's no other way to put it. We loved each other. There was like I don't know if there was some little animosity with a couple people, but overall, everyone was like this was really well knit. And I know we talked a lot. You, myself, Maya, we were chatting like, how can we make this like how can we keep this rolling? How can we have our kids have this same kind of love to each other? And unfortunately, as the school year went on, just it was hard for anything to happen. But like I kept on like that worm was eating at my brain for a while. And so we decided I chatted with you and Maya Diaz about like, hey, we need to do this. And so we had our first event. It was in a small library, South Orange library in Chula Vista. And holy Moses, I did not. I thought we were able to get the children's sector of the library and the librarian like when the first families showed up, it's like, oh no, we made a goof. This is way too small. And we
People
made
showed up.
people showed up. I was surprised because it was only five groups. It was you, my group, Crystal's group, Judy's group, and Hans. I think that's all. And so like a couple of people. No, it was like it was packed. We had 200 people.
Yeah.
And we had to make those librarians work. I apologize. It's been 8 years, but I apologize still. I still feel bad. I got a justifiably upset email from the librarian because like they thought it was going to be smaller. So it's like, again, justifiable. I apologize. But the next year was, wait, you want to interview? What's up?
I would say any inaugural event, there has to be some grace. And I mean, especially with us having no clue what we're doing. Like, it was so cool though. Like that
Yeah.
first event was so fun. And I appreciated that my kids got to walk to it.
Oh yeah, because you're like right by that. Yeah. And I
Mm-hmm.
think what's made the VAP Festival kind of unique, for better and for worse, is that it's been teacher run. It's with the exception of last year. Excuse me. With the exception of last year, it's always been teacher run. Like the teachers are pushing this to happen. So Lauren definitely gave us some advice the following year
Mm-hmm.
after like or a little actually a little bit that year, but like it was very much like next year we definitely needed her assistance. So then it went from five groups in the library to I think 13 groups in my school, but it's still just music. And then it was gonna be the next performance was gonna be March 20th, 2020, and that didn't happen.
Why? Why did that happen, John?
There's this thing called the Big Rona. And so yeah, that killed that. But the next year we still kept on doing it, and so we had it online. We had it then the following year semi-online. We recorded it, but it was performed online, and then like past 2 years we had our local our sister district hosted at the high school, and this year we didn't have any assistance from the our district because last year you ran it. I appreciate it because you kind of allowed my brain aneurysm to like succeed for another 20 years. So, uh,
Uh, and things last year were just a little different because we split it over 2 nights.
yeah,
And it again, for better or worse, it was a decision that was made because the previous year it had gone on forever, and I felt so bad by the time the last group got to perform, most folks had left. And it's just
yeah,
like that never feels good is when people
yeah.
are performing in front of, just their families because we want absolutely to celebrate. And so every year there's been some sort of twist and change to
Yeah.
it. And so please, what was different this year?
This year it was back. We brought it back to the schools, which I sorry to Chula Vista elementary schools. Something
Hmm.
I really loved. Have you ever witnessed like the sports events at different school sites, like at uh, like kickball at Montgomery, or I don't know if kickball anywhere?
Yes.
So
Hmm.
something that like I really liked was when they did it at the school. Like I remember for a couple of years they did basketball at this like Southwest or like at the high schools. Like it didn't feel right. It felt like
Mm,
it lacked that home element. Like for me, I played backyard baseball. It's like this whole like I liked the fact that you're playing on turf of where kids go on every day. And so it felt like when we went to Chula Vista High School, it was cool because we had the capacity to bring in more people. But there was an element that was lost. And so the fact that we were able to bring it to Wolf Canyon Elementary was cool. It was like, okay, we're back in the space that I feel is most comfortable. And then Lori, who was the music teacher at Wolf Canyon, she and her administrator pushed to make it a big community event.
cool.
Food trucks were there. The goal was we didn't have it, but the goal was to have interactive art, and so
Huh.
families could do art and whatnot. We were thinking of doing two stages, one outdoors, one indoors, kind of like, but that then kind of was a little bit weird because then it was like, all right, is one stage the better stage? Like
Hmm.
that was, I've never been to a Warp Tour before, so I had no frame of reference. So it's hard for me to kind of get that.
Yeah, I think like Warped Tour, like Coachella, or any of those music festivals stress me out. Would not want like Coachella being out dirt, deserty. Like, where do you
You don't
go to
like
the
the dirt?
bathroom? Where do you?
Yeah.
I'm not a camping person. Like, you give me a nice hotel room every time. You give me a tent, hard pass.
But even like so, my frame of reference, guys, now that I think about it, is probably the San Diego County Fair. Like there are
Mhm.
so many like small venues that like, I've had local bands perform, but the main stage, that's where you bring in, the Grammy Award winning people. And I didn't
Mhm.
want that. I didn't want the indoors to be the real stage and the outdoors to be the
Right.
oh, there goes that school. Good job.
Hmm.
Jason did it.
Right.
It's like you don't
Yeah.
want that. You want it to be a collaborative event. And so in
Hmm.
the end, we did have one stage. We had a lot of art displayed, something we wanted to do for a while, but that we never have been able to. So Joanne Adamos, the Wolf Canyon art teacher, she did a great job of just displaying everything.
She's incredible.
She's amazing. Yeah, so it was, and then we also had our former Rosebank music teacher, now what do you call his position? I don't know.
Sound station,
Sound
innovation
station
teacher.
innovation teacher, Jesse Rogers. He helped with sound tech. It's like everyone had their hands in it because maybe it wasn't because I don't know but because we didn't have an administrator to help spearhead it, I felt like there was this big vacuum. It's like, if no one, like, if we don't all come together, this ain't happening.
Hmm.
And so thankfully, people put their hands together and we made it work. It was awesome. Yeah.
So
Was that a good 5 second?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I just want to see
Impression.
yeah, you nailed it. Yeah. So happy for you. Um, with kind of on on that route, how do you see this wonderful tradition continuing? Is it an easy thing for you to kind of forecast and foresee? And granted, no one can see the future, and things can be look completely different next year for better or worse. But how do you see, or how do you envision, or how do you want the VAPA Festival to continue? Like, what would be ideal in your eyes?
There's two places I'd like to go. One is I definitely want this to continue. I think it's, but I don't want to be. the one quote unquote running it. I wasn't really running it this year. I don't really know who was. It was a bit of Lowry, it was a bit of me. Um, for better and for worse, there was a lot of chefs, and the kitchen
Hmm.
was big, and so we made it work.
Yeah.
But I would like, and so Lori mentioned like she put a big effort. Like again, it was a big production. Like there were a lot of balloons.
Hmm.
There was one of the music teachers that is allergic to latex, so she was like, "Oh, this is a lot." But the idea that Lori wanted is that we have now set the framework so that anyone else who wants to host it from here on knows what it can look like and then do it. So next year it's going to be at Macmillan. That's the goal. And
Hmm.
so we'll see how Jasandra and their rapper team all works and to make it happen. So I would love this to continue, like, and just keep on growing to where it is seen by the district, where VAPA is valued, whether or not like the money is being put towards that. Like VAPA, the parents want VAPA. We want display. We want an area, place where the community wants VAPA, and to show it to. It's not just like it's not. Oftentimes, I've said this so many times at Chaotic Army. Like it is easy for music teachers or any VAPA teacher, anyone, just focus on the four walls. And when you have this kind of celebration, you see that your small world is just a small piece in the puzzle. And so I'm
Hmm.
hoping that more people are just inspired that this thing is big and we're not done. But also something that I've kind of percolated, like what I did work for a bit with our local chapter of CMEA, it's kind of the California Music Educator Association. And I wanted to bring this to our chapter, but not for Chula Vista, but make it bigger, make it for the whole
Hmm.
district. And I know that different districts do this with ORF, but I think it would be great to do it with ORF, like have a way to have families come together and see how different schools are showcasing not just VAPA, but more specifically, maybe ORF, or more
Hmm.
specifically, maybe concert band, and not have it be a like, oh, you got gold, congratulations. Oh, you got silver, congratulations. The competition has a place, but I mean, I think there's much more to the arts than just winning a title. Um, so yeah, that's where I hope that's like I guess the two-prong direction I want to see it. One is this continuing and our district valuing us more, hopefully one day, and um, also seeing it go in different directions to it not just being Chula Vista, but being multifaceted.
Do you, could you see a world where some of that um, manpower, I guess, is given to the community parents of whoever's hosting, where, you had mentioned that, Lori had people food trucks and really wanted to make that a community event. And allowing those families to come in. I imagine Lori wasn't the one blowing up the balloons. If I remember correctly, Wolf Canyon, their balloon game is on point. Um,
Very much.
but just kind of transferring some of that power is not the right word, but just some of that, ownership to the families in the community to allow them like, hey, this is what we need your help with because we are so limited with our time as teachers and we want to do this, but this is kind of where we are struggling to enhance or level up this event. Is that an avenue in which you could foresee this going?
I definitely could. If I understand, just to make sure I understand this correctly, you're asking, is
Hmm.
it possible to levy the, I think powers is the best term, like give this to the parents, the community, like to where they're the ones running it. And yes, the VAPA teachers bring their own teachers, but like the parents are the ones that are having it. Or is that what you're asking?
I guess, yeah.
So we've had a pretty strong fall festival at our school, and it's run by the parents, the not necessarily the PTA, but like or PTO right
Hmm.
now for our school side, but just the parents. Um, the and it's been a good tradition. My only concern, um, so my sister-in-law, there is a connected thread. My sister-in-law, she's English, and she's always shared that She values the crown because while the prime ministers may change, the crown is consistent. And I think the same goes, and for better and for worse, with our PTAs and PTOs and parents just in general. Like, yes, of course, a music teacher can always change. Um, but like parents, they are going to change. That's a fact. Like the people in charge, and the most the parents that are most involved, they will only be there for a limited amount of years. And so it would be great, ideally, if the parents took on that onus. But I am concerned that, like, is it gonna just rotate and based on which parents are the ones that are capable? Yeah, I also we have mixed demographics. We have a lot of schools where you have single parents working multiple jobs, and that's an impossibility for a parent to
Mhm.
take on that responsibility. So do we then just let the affluent schools be the ones that are taking on that position? It's a lot of questions, and like I think you bring up a good question. Like, it would be cool. It'd be cool if it's no long like if I think for this to survive, we do need not just the parents to be interacting with the art, but also to be spearheading, to be a part of it. I just don't know how that sustains. That's all. Uh,
Oh my gosh. I have the idea. I have the idea. So you're welcome.
Go for it.
I'm just gonna tell you now.
And we're
I
gonna also
shouldn't say that.
paywall this portion right now on
Exactly.
patreon.com/ch
Exactly.
classroom. So only you can get it if you get it. Kidding.
We VAPA festivals turned into like an Olympic bid. You bid and schools like put in their name to host it. Or like the Super Bowl, like certain cities will do that. And so it just turns into that. And so you can schedule a couple years out. Just saying, you're welcome.
I like it. My only pushback, again, it's has to do with economics. Like the reason why Wolf Canyon could take it is because they have a big NPR. They have a big school. Crystal's school, I love her school, but Crystal, I remember she was mentioning, as soon as she got on stage, I have stage envy, and then, like this has been an issue since the Lauren administration of Chula Vista. Like, how do we get stages? And maybe this relegates itself to having it be an outdoor stage, and using maybe lead money. I don't know, like, but utilizing. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out. Lead, by the way, is our after school program that is financed a lot of cool stuff, whatnot. I think I've shared that on an earlier
Wonderful,
podcast.
wonderful people.
Yes. But yeah, maybe this forces us to do outdoor performances and finding a way. Oh my gosh, as someone who's helping Jesse run tech, doing outdoor performances scares me.
I mean, that's fair. That's
But
fair.
like that is an issue because once again, we're going into this notion of like it'd be cool. Yeah, let's do the whole bidding thing. But then does that just mean that the bidding is only based off of those who have money? So is it just going to the East Side schools? I know we're going kind of insider baseball right now with our Chula Vista politics, for lack of a better term. But
But I will also say there are places on the west side that would just crush it.
they would.
And I think that our hesitation and our nervousness, I think, can get in the way of allowing people to rise to the occasion. And I'm guilty of it too. And again, prior to this, we were talking about parenting, and like I even noticed that in my parenting with my little one, where my nervousness will not give her the opportunity to rise to the occasion. And for her, that's not fair. And I need to be a better dad in that aspect. And so, if it's something that a school really wants, like they'll find a way to make it happen. So just a thought.
So now my question to you, I'm shooting this back to
Mhm.
you. What is the incentive of being the host school? How, like, what do they gain other than like a momentary bit of pride? Like, do they get a medal? Like, do they like put a banner down? Maybe that's what we do. I don't know. But like, how
Maybe.
do we incentivize like different schools? Because I sent out a message to all. Like, this is a little different, but it's kind of parallel. I sent out a message to all the VAPA teachers like after the performance, like, hey, y'all did a great job. By the way, the performance was like last week. Heads up, just because we mentioned this whole thing. We recently had the
Yeah.
festival like last week. or 2 weeks ago from when we recorded this. No, last week. No, it was last week. Anyways,
I wasn't invited, so I don't know.
okay. uh, and I asked all the teachers, well, just questions, whatnot. And then my last question is, are you interested in hosting? And I haven't received a lot of responses, but the main answer was no. And this, mind you, this is from the VAPA perspective. Maybe it might be different
Mhm.
if there's a way to incentivize, what is the benefit? What is the gain from having the school be the host? Also parking, my dude, parking is another thing. West Side schools don't have a lot of parking, but
And
you are right. Like if we give the opportunity, maybe people will rise to the occasion. I don't know.
and maybe it's one of those things where a principal really just wants to showcase their school and they want to allow them to, to be in the spotlight and be the center of attention and have the shiny fun thing. Um, because you think of sporting events and whatnot, and like for a city to host an event, so big NFL fan. The draft happened this last week, and it was held in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'm a big Green Bay Packer fan, and the dig always on Green Bay is that they are a small market city because it is a small city that has a professional sports team. But they turned out and they showed up, and it was raucous, and they had a ton of people. And like when you look at the numbers based upon the population, it far exceeded other cities in hosting the draft, and they get to kind of showcase and do all these things. And so just um, allowing different communities to showcase their interpretation of this, as long as they're
I'm with
we
you.
need X, Y, and Z. We need a plan for parking. We need a plan for this and that, those structural things to be able to make it work. Allowing people to put their flavor on things isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, 100%. I definitely agree with you. I think it would be great to see what, it's going to be interesting to see what Macmillan brings to the table
Yeah.
tomorrow, next year, not tomorrow.
Oh gosh. Good luck.
Next year, it'd be cool to see. And yeah, that's one reason. That's another reason why I really would like that it's back in the Chula Vista Elementary schools. Like it's so different. It's like a nice flavor having on home turf. And I agree
Sure.
with you. I just wish that we work in a very decentralized district, and there's a reason why it's decentralized because the economics of West Side is vastly different than the economics of East Side. But that does not mean that either school is better or worse. And it'd be great to see what Cook Elementary can bring to the table versus Camarena. So I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah.
hmm I think both would be fantastic,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, it's allowing people to showcase themselves
The,
and their community,
the key thing I don't want
and
to
that's a
see
beautiful thing.
is having two separate ones in the same. Yeah, I don't want to see yeah, the two nights. Anyways, but yeah, I agree with you. I do want to see the flavor. I want people not to be split and having to choose between one or the other. Like that's the key
Sure.
thing. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, congratulations, sir, on from what sounds like a very successful VAPA festival. And I'm sure it was, not easy and there were ups and downs, but I bet being able to see your kids on stage performing and showcasing the hard work that they have put into their pieces was nothing short of spectacular. So congratulations.
Thank you, good sir. Appreciate that.
hmm hmm
Well, Mark's not going away. We're gonna be back after the break. Here at Chaotic Harmony, we talk a lot about ORF. And while we aren't ORF specific teachers, the ORF process plays a big role in the way all the co-hosts at Chaotic Harmony teach. If you keep on hearing this ORF stuff and are curious to learn more, summer is coming, which means a lot of places are teaching ORF levels, including down here in San Diego. ORF Levels is a 2-week intensive where you learn the ORF process from amazingly seasoned teachers. Honestly, ORF Levels revolutionized not just how I teach, but created a deep bond with all the teachers I trained with. San Diego is having Level 1 from June 30th to July 11th. To register or just to learn more information, you can go to sdorf.org or, for shorter, just click in the show notes. If San Diego is too far away, though, I get it. There are a lot of other options out there, so check those out. But otherwise, if you can make it, go to sdorff.org to sign up for levels. And if you want that San Diego flair, we got you here. Also, in checkout, if you write that Chaotic Harmony sent you, you'll get $50 off. So you can save, 4 burritos while you're down here. So that's sdorf.org. Check it out. Welcome back to Chaotic Harmony. But before we continue, hard left turn. Thank you all so much for listening to episode. Gosh, if you're not watching the video, okay.
I took a left turn.
Hard left turn.
And hit my mic.
Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this 111 plus episode journey. Whether you joined us back at episode 0 with Lauren Shelton, which if you haven't checked that out, do check it out. Really worth listening to. Or if you're here for the first time because you just love Marc and you just heard that Marc is awesome, thank you so much. If you've enjoyed what you heard, please support the things you love. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/chclassroom, where you can get special merch and other things for the class. If you don't have a buck to toss our way, that is okay, though, especially during these weird economic times. But there's also free ways to support us. You could leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I only know how to count to 5. 5. That's it. 5. There is no number before that. And also, you can go to youtube.com/@ch-class. There are did you know this, Marc? There are 3 other Chaotic Harmony, Chaotic Harmony YouTube accounts.
Is that right?
Weird. Yeah, there's like a purple star one. I don't even know. But anyways, go to youtube.com/@ch-classroom. Leave us a like, follow us, do all the things. It helps us make sure that these algorithms aren't mean to us music educators. And, it helps us make sure that these lights and mics are still running. Yeah. So moving on, since this is another online podcast, we're not going to be doing round of the week. That would just be awkward. We've done that back in 2020. Actually, do you remember we did that back with Manny in 2019?
It didn't go well.
No, it did not. It was a precursor for what was going to happen a few months later.
That dude rules. I like that dude.
Love Manny. We got to have Manny on the podcast. We've only had him on online episodes, like not even online episodes. We only had for like little cameo appearances. Manny, we love you. Anyway, so we are going to be doing another episode of Fake Shoot, where I'm going to ask Marc here. I'm going to not ask Marc. I have 5 books, not 10 books this time, just 5 because life be crazy. 5 books where Marc has to guess which ones are real children's books and which ones are written by moi. So, if he gets all 5, I'll buy you a burrito when I see you next. How about that?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I get to choose the place?
Actually, better yet. If you get 4 out of 5, okay? Because I think I said in prior episodes, Sasha had to get 2 wrong, minimum. So yeah, let's just keep them ratio. Yeah, sure. Your choice. I'll ship it right to you in Indiana.
Yes, please.
All right, cool.
Please.
So our first book, When I See Red, real book or fake book?
Real book.
When I See Red, written by Britta Trekentrup. All right, so that is one.
Oh, yes.
All right, book number 2, My Brother Otto and the Birthday Party. My Brother Otto and the Birthday Party. Real book or fake?
I'm going to go. So I definitely feel the pressure that Sasha felt doing this. And so, Sasha, I feel you, especially knowing there's a burrito on the line. I'm going to say real book.
My Brother Otto and the Birthday Party. Written by Meg Raby. Yes, it's a real book. Okay. Moving on. Book 3. So far, Marc has 2 points.
2. Yes.
Jordan's Big Blue Cloud. Real book or fake?
Fake. I think that was the wrong answer. Dang it.
Jordan's
fake.
Big Blue Cloud. Written by Marc Keehmer and Jonathan Seligman. Hey, so far.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on.
Looks like I owe Marc a...
That's a clever title.
Although I'm realizing, as I said, I don't know if you listen to enough of these episodes. I really hate it when people like use Johnny as, Johnny did this.
Right.
Johnny,
Hmm.
my go-to is now Jason or Jordan.
Mm.
So
Okay. Now I know.
yeah, I need to change it up. All right,
Hmm.
book 4. Calm your roar like a dinosaur. Real book or fake book?
Calm your roar like a dinosaur. Let's go real. Don't feel good about that answer either.
Calm your roar like a dinosaur. Written by Brenda Miles and Colleen A. Patterson. Okay, okay. So this is our last book. Mark needs to get this. Actually, you won. Yeah,
I did, but
yeah. But let's see
I'm
for
mhm.
this. I don't think anyone's ever gotten 100% T, but in the same sense, no one's ever done only 5. So we'll see how this goes.
Fair. If I get it right, you have to pay for my next tattoo.
Oh, that was not in the that was not in
I'm
the
glad we
books.
agreed on that at the beginning. So I get the burrito, and then if I get this, I get a tattoo.
You got to
Fantastic.
make sure you're also subscribing at patreon.com/ch classroom. Then maybe I'll consider it.
The top comment wins. I'll get that.
It's my land now.
That's so aggressive. I'm gonna say fake.
It's my land now. Written by nobody.
Aggressive.
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 I shared with you my idea for a children's series?
No. What's your idea
Ooh,
for
I'm
children's
not
series?
going to online.
Oh,
Intellectual property, man.
fair enough.
But in the future, there
If
will
I
be a
just,
children's
chat
series.
chat GPT, what's Mark's idea of children's series? Yeah.
No.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'd be curious to hear it off there, but alas.
Hmm.
Well, Mark, it's been a pleasure, my dude. It's again, as we
The
said, it's
best.
been like a hot second, and thankfully, we are hoping to have you on more often. So,
Love to be.
getting your still music perspective, but in a different perspective. And so, yeah. But is there anything you'd like to what's the phrase I'm looking for? Dude, it's late. What's the phrase I'm looking for? Share.
Promote,
No,
share.
there's another word I'm looking for, but drop? No, I don't know. So yeah, anything you want to promote? Anything you want to let the listeners know? Hey, there's some cool stuff that's being written by Marc Keehmer. This book series by Marc Keehmer, you need to purchase.
Book series coming out soon. No, not soon at all. It's all just an idea, but I'm very excited about it. Um, you know, we're doing a bunch of summer camps, and so if you are in the Indianapolis area, or if play jazz or double bass, we like those are overnight camps. But yeah, so let's look into this for a fun summer here. Um, and remember, support local business.
Yeah, do that. How
Hmm.
can they support
Hmm.
your not business, but how can they reach out to you if they want to do the things?
Yeah, I mean, you just send me an email, mkeemer@gmail.com. I got rid of most of my social media. Um, yeah, so I
Yep, email
just,
works. That's what Sasha
yeah,
did. So yeah, M
yeah.
Keemer. Can you spell it for us?
mkeehmer@gmail.com. As I say that though, please don't sign me up for like the Denny's reward clubs or anything or any obnoxious. Like, if I start getting all this spam email, I'm gonna come and be real upset with Chaotic Harmony listeners. So, listener, come on now, be cool.
Which one would you go towards? Like, are you gonna throw your fists at Manny? You wouldn't do that. You're not gonna do
No,
that.
never. Manny would never do
No, you
that.
wouldn't. But
No,
yeah, don't
no,
do that. And if you
no.
don't want to send me
But Jesse
Denny's
Rogers, I'll
Jesse
trust that
Rogers,
dude.
that's it. Come on, Jesse. Uh, and also you can message me at Mr. Seligman, MrSeligman on all the socials. I am yeah, you'll hear the ad read and there's some important stuff that I'm doing down here in San Diego with Orf, and so hit me up for that stuff. Or actually for that stuff, actually SD Orf at SD Orf. Don't hit me up for that. But yeah, and you can find us and message us at CH Classroom on all the socials and email us at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com. If you have something you want to send right before Crystal and I record on Saturday, so the next 3 days from when this is released, uh, hit us up. But Mark, it's been a pleasure. Thank you
Telling
so
you the
much.
best. Bye.
The
Bye.
Chaotic Harmony podcast is a joint project between Crystal Pridmore and Jonathan Seligman. You can find us online at chaoticharmonyclassroom.com. You can email us at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail and let us know what you think. Give us feedback about what you would like to hear in future episodes. We're on all the socials. Find us on facebook.com/chaoticharmonyclassroom. You can find us on Twitter at @CHClassroom, Instagram at Chaotic Harmony Classroom, and you can even find our episodes on YouTube. Chaotic Harmony is the name of our channel. Special thanks to Brian Pridmore for his help with production and equipment. www.pridmoria.com.
I'm still dabbing, my dude. I'm still dabbing.
Dude, it's gonna come back. You're fine. You're just way
That's
ahead of
true.
the game.
20 years.
It's hair, John,
It's hair.
on top of your head. I know you don't know what that's like.
No, it's been a hot second. Dude, I used to have long hair, dude. You remember that?
I know. I saw a picture, like I was looking through my Facebook and just like through old photos.
Yeah.